The Marvel Cinematic Universe has been around for longer than some people have been alive. And before the release of Captain America Brave New World, I wanted to take a look back at probably my favorite film of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, if I'm being honest, Captain America the Winter Soldier. Let's get into it. What's up? I'm Seyr, and welcome to my corner of the internet. And on this episode, we'll be discussing the ninth film of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Captain America the Winter Soldier. It directly follows Thor the Dark World and is followed by the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Released April 4th, 2014, and produced by Marvel Studios, distributed by Walt Disney, of course. The film is directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, also known as the Russo brothers, and it was written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. Principal photography began April 1st, 2013 in Los Angeles. The film stars Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, aka the Black Widow, Sebastian Stan as James Buchanan Barnes, aka Bucky, Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, also known as Falcon, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, Kobe Smulders as Maria Hill, Haley Atwell as Peggy, Toby Jones as Zola, Arnim Zola, Robert Redford as Pierce, the film's bad guy. So now that we know a little backstory on Captain America the Winter Soldier, let's get into the story. So the film starts with Steve meeting Sam for the first time when they're jogging, and he just keeps running laps on him, uh, uttering the phrase on your left, which will echo for years to come. And after that light banter with Sam, Steve is then pulled into a mission with Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow. And Cap finds out midway through the mission that Natasha has her own separate mission going on where she has to get information tasked by Fury. So after the mission's over, Cap is pissed obviously because Natasha had her own separate mission going on. He goes and confronts Fury, and Fury goes to show him Project Insight. Project Insight being three helicarriers that are packed to the max with weaponry, and they're designed essentially to mass kill people. Cap objects to Project Insight, realizing the danger it could pose to modern people. So he leaves the Shield's Triskelion and he goes and sees Peggy, who during the time Steve was in the ice, her life was going on. So at this point, she's actually like very, very, very grown up. And they have a little discussion on something that kind of influences the the moral or the message of this film. In a separate scene, our Fury tries to decrypt the data he got from Natasha and he fails. Every single attempt he has tells him that the files cannot be decrypted. So he approaches Alexander Pierce and asks him to hold off on Project Insight while he investigates what's happening. As we're continuing with Nick's story, we meet him on his way to meet with Maria Hill. But on the way, he gets attacked by cop cars, and his in-car system tells him that there are no dispatches in this location, so it seems rather fishy what's happening. Fury makes his escape and he escapes to Cap's apartment. When Cap gets home, he finds Fury there, and Fury is there to warn him that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been compromised. So after he warns Cap, Fury gets fatally shot by an assassin who goes by the moniker of Winter Soldier. We'll learn who it is over the course of this film. Right before Fury dies, he hands Cap a flash drive and tells him not to trust anyone. So now Cap is tasked with finding out what the hell is happening here. In the hospital where Fury was pronounced dead, Cap tries to hide the hard drive that Fury gave him because he had to go to the Triskelion Shield's headquarters. But then Natasha finds the drive, so then they have to team up to be able to find out what's happening here. They try to decrypt whatever information it is on the drive, but all they can find is the location of where the drive was encrypted. And it's actually Shield's first headquarters. But then during the investigation, they actually find Arnim Zola, who was in the first Captain America film as one of the scientists to the bad guy. It turns out that Arnim, his entire brain has been saved underground in this facility. And so he informs them of a number of betrayals that Shield has gone under anonymously. And at the end of the conversation, Zola sends two missiles to the location where they're at, but they manage to survive. And they get Sam to join the team. And it turns out that Sam has his own little secrets going on. So it turns out he has a flight suit titled the Falcon, which coincides with his superhero name. Sam joins the team and they formulate a plan and they go and investigate Jasper Sidwell. Jasper Sidwell, who we met early in the film, was one of the hostages on the boat that Cap went on his first mission in the film. On their way to the Shield headquarters, the Winter Soldier ambushes them and he tosses Jasper Sidwell out of the car into a moving truck. A shootout and an attack happens, and Cap, during a fight with the Winter Soldier, pulls pulls out his mask, and he actually finds out that it's Bucky. Bucky, who is still alive a couple decades later, just like Steve. But Steve is shook by this. He's taken aback, and yeah, he doesn't know really how to deal with the information. After he finds out the Winter Soldier's identity, they get caught by Hydra, and it almost seems like they're gonna die this time. But it turns out in the truck, Maria Hill was one of the masked soldiers that were supposed to be guarding them. She gets them out, gets them to a safe place, and they find out that Nick Fury is actually still alive. And another plan forms, because now they actually know what's happening. They know that Hydra has infiltrated Shield and is doing damage, crazy damage, and Project Insight is supposed to be their biggest project yet, where they basically mass exodus millions of people at one time, and the Project Insight will essentially give them the manpower to be able to do that on command. Now it's launch day for Project Insight, but Cap and his team actually have their own plan going on. So they infiltrate uh, the Triskelion while the World Security Council members arrive, which we met earlier in the film, who are supposed to be the higher ups for Shield. Steve, having gained access into the building, the Triskelion, he actually broadcasts himself talking to the entire building, telling them that Hydra has infiltrated Shield, and he doesn't really know how many people are Hydra and how many people are Shield, but he's asking the people who are Shield to stand with him and fight, and they do. They do. Um, a lot of people, including Sharon Carter, who I forgot to mention her, but she is actually Peggy's niece and an almost love interest to Steve in this film, but then they actually kiss in the next Captain America film. So in the third act, the plan is Cap, Sam, and Maria Hill are supposed to infiltrate the three Project Inside helicarriers, insert their own chips in there to be able to control where the targets are for the helicarriers. And midway through the mission, Cap and Bucky go face to face. I mean, it's sort of like been spelled that they're gonna fight at some point. But yeah, they go face to face, and Cap has to fight his best friend who is under mind control. So when Cap is supposed to insert the third chip in the third helicarrier, he gets shot by Bucky, but then he ends up actually doing it, and they get into a fight while the helicarriers are shooting at each other. But then Steve decides he's not gonna fight his best friend and essentially like let him beat him because I mean he's under mind control. There's nothing he can do about it. I guess this kind of shakes Bucky out of his mind control thing, and he actually stops. And when the helicarriers crash into the water, he actually saves Steve, gets him out of the water, but he leaves him there. Hydra and Shield both fall. Nick Fury is assumed dead and wants to keep it that way. And we get our typical mid and post credit scenes from our Marvel films. If you're a Marvel fan, you already know what happens. So yeah, that was Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So the film actually made $714 million at the box office worldwide, the fifth highest in that year. And critical reception, it got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.7 on IMDb. But critics and all that aside, as I said at the top of the video, this is actually like my favorite Marvel film. I think that's also why I'm so excited for Brave New World, because the spy thriller genre is like, especially in the superhero aspect, like focus in the superhero aspect, I feel like it's a dope character study, and especially for someone like Captain America, who stands for so many good things, I could say. He has to then face what the government is doing, like the actions of the government, and him having to stand in the right side of history, so to say, and him standing on his morals and his values like he does. I'm super excited for Brave New World in February. And actually, the day I'm recording this, the day before yesterday, the Thunderbolts trailer dropped. And it looks incredible too. It looks fire as fuck. And I'm excited, man. Marvel looks to be course correcting a lot. I'm not gonna say we're back and all that because, hey, overspelling shit. So I'm just gonna say, yeah, they're course correcting a lot. Like then the Thunderbolts trailer looks incredible. It looks fun. The jokes, the seriousness. It also has that spy thriller genre thing, which I'm super excited for. So essentially, I think I'm getting two films that are like spy thriller things from Marvel, and I'm also excited for DC. DC with James Gunn now taking the lead. I'm super excited to see where we go. Superman. I'm excited, and the um, the animated series that's coming up. I'm blanking on the name, but yeah, the animated series also coming up. I think in December. Very very dope things coming for geeks and nerds. The nerd dome is being fed right now. But yeah, super exciting time. But otherwise, thank you for joining me on my corner. This was episode 4, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and I can't wait for you to see the next episodes that I have coming up. So it's pretty exciting stuff. I hope you stay blessed, stay peaceful, stay fed, stay moneyed. Until then, peace.